All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cali DeVeo Show. Thanks for tuning in, liking, commenting, subscribing, hit the notification bell. As we all know, majority of us are in tough times. Most of our lives are complete shit shows, not just financially, but mentally too. I'm not going to get to the physical part. My life's not perfect, by the way, but I'm not going to give up hope. But people in China are starting to feel that life is pretty much meaningless, being that 600 million people feel like that and doubting survival. Damn. And this woman right here is a single mother, so let's see how it starts off.
I really don't know what else to do. I just called the Women's Federation for help, hoping they could help me find some temporary work or manual labor. Otherwise, I really can't survive anymore. The woman in the video is a single mother from Guangdong. She posted the video.
Did she just say Women's Federation? Wow. I'm pretty sure they have services like that here in America too, but I wouldn't know because I'm not a woman and I'm not a fan of government assistance, even though a lot of people need it. Because see, the thing is, once you sign up for that stuff, they take away your dignity because they pretty much micromanage what you can and can't do. They want to know who's in your household and everything. It's just crazy.
Asking for help as she struggles with survival at the start of 2025. Raising a child without any source of income, she pleaded, "What can I do to keep living? I don't want to starve to death with my son. I refuse to give up."
All right, this is where my Kevin Samuels part of me kicks in at. Where's the baby father at? If anything, she probably kicked him to the curb. If he was toxic, she probably knew that before she got pregnant by him. So, to be honest with you, I really don't feel sorry that much for a lot of single mothers because a lot of times, being that women think that they know everything to begin with, how come you can't choose better men to father the children that you produce with them? I'm not understanding that. A lot of women are into the bad boys. We get that. I mean, look at Cassie Ventura, aka Diddy's whatever you want to say. Look at that. She knew what she was getting into, and her parents knew it too. So that's why I'm saying it's hard for me to feel bad for these people. So my first question is always going to be, where is the father at? How come he ain't helping you? But yet, these women will find some other sucker to step up and care for her and another man's child. It's just fucking sickening.
In many overlooked corners of China, people are finding it increasingly difficult to survive. This is one of the harsh realities caused by sharp decline in China's economy. Among those hit the hardest are young people who feel they have no future. As I was lying in bed, I suddenly broke down. I'm about to turn 22, but I'm still in debt. Every month, my entire paycheck goes towards paying off what I owe. I never imagined this year would be so tough. It's been such a struggle this year. Actually, it's been tough for several years now. I've switched jobs so many times and still feel like my life is meaningless. Thinking about it all today, I just completely lost it. But young people like us will have to endure the hard times before things get better, right?
And see, when I see videos of this is usually the boomer and the silent generation working out in storms like this, right? You're not going to see a lot of young people working out in the storms like this. A lot of these young people in my generation, I'm a millennial, I'm in my late 30s. So that means that a lot of people my age are working in luxury offices. Yeah, they're not going to be outside selling produce. A small percentage of them do. And if they do, good for them. It's better than not doing anything at all.
In the comment section, many commentators try to comfort the distressed TikToker, saying things like, "This isn't really hardship yet. You're crying too soon.
Oh.
Some of us are in our 30s and still in debt. After a while, you'll just get used to it." Another TikToker shared,
A few days ago, I saw a news report online. It said that nearly 90% of young people across the country are very dissatisfied with their current situation.
Whoa.
Around
Is he jumping up and down, throwing a tantrum like a kid? Oh, man. I had to take the glasses off for that one.
500 million people are just coasting through life, and nearly 600 million people feel like their lives are completely meaningless. Honestly, I've noticed that a lot of people around me have chosen to just give up this year. Some people tried everything they could and had no choice but to give up. Others don't even want to try anymore. It makes me wonder, have so many people really lost their sense of purpose? Have they given up on their beliefs? Does everyone feel like life has no meaning anymore?
For many middle aged and young adults who are married, the past year of 2024 was reportedly the most financially challenging year they've ever experienced.
有没有今年跟我一样过得很
Is there anyone else who had a year as tough as mine? How bad, you ask? I couldn't buy my son any new clothes this year, so he's wearing last year's clothes again. The only thing I bought him was a pair of shoes because his feet had grown, and we had no choice.
I'ma ask again. Where the hell is the men at? This shit's starting to piss me off. We gonna get to the bottom of this.
As for me, I didn't buy any clothes either. I've only been wearing what I bought last year. I haven't been able to afford a haircut for 6 months, and I've had to use the cheapest skincare products. This year has been unbelievably hard for me. Has it been the same for you? According to data from Gavecal Dragonomics, household wealth in China grew by nearly 10% annually from 2018 to 2021. However, in 2022 and 2023, that growth slowed to just 1% per year. Goldman Sachs analysts predict that real estate, which accounts for 70% of household wealth, could drop in value by another 20 to 25% before stabilizing at the end of 2025. This could mean nearly half of the wealth held by Chinese families, particularly those heavily invested in real estate, could be wiped out.
Oh boy, you crying.
I didn't
Shit.
actually lose much in the stock market today, so it's not the losses that upset me this much. It's more about why society has pushed us to this point. In the tech industry, losing your job after age 35 basically means the end of your career. Starting your own business doesn't work either. COVID hit, and you fail again. Can anyone teach me other ways to make money to support my family? I'm honestly feeling so low right now. The stock market has screwed us over badly, and it feels like I can't find any direction in life. I even tried driving for Didi, but I only made 116 yuan in an entire day.
A January article in Market Watch interviewed workers, students, and retirees across China. Many were relieved to see 2024 end, a year that extended the post-pandemic struggle.
All right, so take a look at this picture right here. In China, most people live in apartments. I know that for a fact because for the Chinese people I know that have family back home, this business lady I know told me that all their family back home, including their parents, live in apartments because housing is just like here in the West. It's just so expensive. It's out of reach for most people. And I mean, if you live in a developed area, most likely you're going to live in an apartment anyway, especially if you live in a busy area. So it's pretty much, the living situation is pretty much the same in the West here as it is back in China. China's a large country, which means it has a large economy as well. You go further out in the rural areas, it's a lot of poverty. So you have more fortune in the more modern areas.
Of wage stagnation, unemployment, declining property values, and shrinking budget for non-essentials. However, their outlook for 2025 remains grim as they see little hope for the future. In Chengdu, Sichuan, a 42-year-old woman named Xu Leiyu lost her job at a phone store 2 months earlier. She told MarketWatch, "The government has been saying for over a year that they will help people like us who are struggling, but I haven't seen any support." Amid widespread economic difficulties, the Chinese Communist Party (CCP) held its annual National Propaganda Ministers' Conference in early January. A member of the Politburo Standing Committee, Chai Chi, emphasized the need to uphold the correct orientation of public opinion and strengthen economic propaganda and expectation management. Similarly, Li Shulei, the Minister of Publicity, highlighted the importance of improving economic messaging in the new year. Veteran journalist Mr. Gao commented on the National Propaganda Ministers' Conference, saying it set the agenda for propaganda departments across the country this year. He explained that the primary goal remains tightening control over public opinion. He said regarding the content of this year's propaganda meeting, they were more explicit than before. They are now facing a major challenge: how to cover up this grim reality. This includes the sluggish economy, the enormous effort and expense spent on lifting the stock market only for it to crash again, and the frequent incident.
I'm going to stop it right here. The stock market is for rich people. It only benefits rich people. So if you're not already rich and you're trying to make chess moves in the stock market, it's not gonna do much justice for you. So just keep that in mind.
Of car attacks and revenge driven acts across various regions. All of these issues need to be concealed. To conceal the economic downturn, the government has not only emphasized promoting a bright outlook, but also silenced those who speak the truth. Many Chinese economists have been censored for expressing opinions that conflict with official narratives. These include Liu Jipen, former dean of the Business School of China University of Political Science and Law; Dan Bing, chairman of Shenzhen Eastern Harbor Asset Management financial blogger Hong Rong; Chen Shouhong, founder of the investment research platform Ge Longhui; well-known commentator Shui Pi; economist Ma Guangyuan; financial writer Wu Xiaobo; and Xu Xiaoyu, a former senior investment advisor at CICC Wealth Securities. At the end of last year, the latest to face censorship were economists Gao Shanwen and Fu Pen. In his speech, Gao Shanwen summarized post.
I mean, just look at that. Look at that cityscape view. That just looks chaotic. Have you seen the freeway system in LA? A lot of you have, but not from a bird's eye view. But take a look at that LA freeway system and then look at this. But then this looks more chaotic because most of those buildings are people's residence, because it's so busy and so many people in China, they have to stack everything up. And that's pretty much what they're doing in the US too. They're not building a lot of single family homes. They're building more condos and townhouses and sticking everything together. This way, they can find out a way by making more money by adding the damn HOAs. So most people that are buying all these new homes, they're paying for HOAs, which you should never get into, because when they'll raise the price of the HOA fees every year, and you have no control over that. So you'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
Pandemic Chinese society in 3 phases. The elderly are full of vitality, the young are lifeless, and the middle-aged have lost all desire for life.
You hear that? All desire. So this might be where the doom spending and where all the debt racking is coming up from. We're going to always owe money. So we might as well just be happy and spend the money and then just pay it back little by little whenever we get the money. That's the right and the wrong answer, because you only live once. Live life every day like it's your last. I mean, it sounds depressing, but that's pretty much what people are going for.
He also estimated that GDP in the past 3 years may have been overstated by a total of 10%. If corrected by 3%, he said, China would appear as a relative normal country by global standards.
Normal.
Fu Pen emphasized in his speech that China's economic problems are far more severe than they appear.
It'll never be a normal country because it's too many people. Too many people means too many problems. Good and bad. Okay, children.
He pointed to a lack of effective consumption as the core issue, describing the decline in consumption capacity as a structural shift rather than a temporary phenomenon. The greatest challenge, he said, is a rapid shrinking of the middle class.
That's the only way that you're going to remember how fortunate you are, if you live up in here just to look down and look at how bad that they're doing. That's a reminder that you're doing okay.
Fu also criticized China's media environment. He said that anyone who points out problems is labeled as a traitor or unpatriotic, and they are attacked online. But the real danger is if no one speaks out, when the time comes to make key decisions, a lack of accurate feedback will lead to catastrophic errors. Eventually, even the leadership could make decisions based on false information, and that would...
Looking at that skyline is almost like sex to my eyes. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Yet, the problems that arise are so chaotic.
spell disaster. History would judge who truly harmed the country and its people. Ironically, after expressing his views, Fu Pen himself was labeled a national traitor. Following the suppression of Fu and Gao, reports emerged from several regions in China that security regulators were restricting chief economists.
All right. So these people, I'm very curious to know what their salaries are. I usually don't ask people what their salaries are, just like I wouldn't ask a woman what her body count is, because That's an automatic judgment. You're judging a person based on the acts that they've done with numerous times. I don't care about your body count, but I do know what you had to do to get that camera lens. Those camera lenses are like $2,000-$3,000, and I can't even get one. I mean, I can, but I have to put it on a credit card, and I don't want to do that because then I have to, will I pay it off as quick as I think I would? Maybe. I'll pay half of it next paycheck. But yeah, baby girl got a nice camera lens, and we might get acquainted if we have a conversation.
Financial analysts and fund managers from speaking publicly. These experts, silenced by authorities, have now found themselves among the growing group of people struggling to survive. Economic Census data shows that between the end of 2018 and 2023, the number of workers in China's financial and real estate industries dropped significantly. Many were forced to pivot to roles in social media, state-owned enterprises, or other fields, which some view as an indirect form of suppression within these industries. A 37-year-old former investment banker in Shanghai described on social media how the sector had changed. In just a few years, investment bankers went from attracting top talent to being an industry people are eager to leave. He added the success and prestige of investment bankers in the past has turned into despair. During the expansion phase, graduates from top universities and professionals from all fields raced to enter investment banking. It was a vibrant industry with massive projects negotiated over casual drinks. But by the early 2024, everything changed. People are feeling the industry. For those with projects, the work has become overwhelming and unrewarding. For those without projects, the fear of layoffs has become constant. Chinese-American economist David Huang attributed the decline in financial sector jobs to several factors, including stricter regulations, slowing economic growth, and structural adjustments within the industry. He explained, for the past decade, the Chinese government tried to develop its securities market to dominate global finance, but this effort created problems like shadow banking, financial scams, fraudulent funds, and illegal lending. As the government tightened controls, jobs born out of this unchecked growth quickly disappeared. Huang also pointed out that the adoption of
Okay, I want to know who's buying all this jewelry and shit. Who has the money to buy all this? I mean, it's beautiful jewelry, but 12%, I have to take my phone and translate the rest of the symbols. I can't understand that, but I don't know if that's 12% interest or 12% down, whatever.
digitization and AI in financial services has led to replacement of some traditional jobs. Discussing the real estate sector, Huang said its employment decline was driven by shrinking demand due to demographic shifts, a slowing housing market, and urbanization. The government's heavy-handed crackdown on real estate market in recent years also caused severe contractions, with some regions experiencing outright collapse. He added that the bankruptcy wave, including high-profile debt crises at major firms, has led to job losses across the construction, real estate, and related industries. A veteran in the financial sector, Xu Zhen, said that the decline in real estate and financial industries was expected because they depend heavily on the real economy. He pointed out that the real estate sector, which drove China's economy for 2 decades, entered a steep decline starting in 2021. The collapse of Evergrande marked a turning point, with ripple effects across industries like construction, finance, and home furnishing. He estimated that these issues have directly or indirectly caused over 10 million job losses. A woman with 10 years of experience in banking and 3 years in investment banking shared on social media the pay cuts and resignations happening around her. She said since 2022, colleagues have faced steady pay cuts. A friend in his 40s, a deputy branch manager at a state-owned bank, hasn't had a salary increase in 10 years. Another, a branch manager at a commercial bank, saw his pay cut in half in 2023. A manager in a state-owned bank back office had a 10% pay cut in 2024.
So basically, all these large organizations are doing cuts. And the goal is pretty much to always look for ways to save the company money by cutting back. Nobody cares about your job title. Nobody cares how much you worked for the company or did for the company or organization. Somewhere in that little rat maze or hamster wheel that you're stuck in, they're going to demote you somewhere at some point. So that's why rule number one, you never get comfortable with none of these organizations nor trust them. Just look, whatever you're doing for these companies, it should be your own source of a tool to do something for yourself, to start something yourself. But that's why they're always telling you not to get comfortable in these jobs, because you never know when you're going to get let go. And a lot of these are non-service workers, which means they're non-union workers. So if you're non-union, you have a higher chance of getting let go as a non-union employee.
A friend in her 30s who manages a top brokerage firm branch had her annual income halved in 2023, and she expects another 20% cut in 2024. With shrinking profit margins in the financial sector, pay cuts are inevitable. A former finance worker in Guangdong who transitioned to content creation wrote an article on the last day of 2024 titled "How Poor the Financial Industry Has Become." He shared an example that highlights the situation. He wrote, "In past Decembers, sales teams at financial institutions would deliver branded calendars to their VIP clients.
What?
This year, calendars have suddenly become a rare item." He explained that in previous years, banks, funds, insurance companies, and brokerage all distributed beautifully designed calendars for free. Now, they are nowhere to be found. Even when clients actively ask for one, they are often met with a polite but awkward smile. David Huang later explained that the financial industry, which accounts for about 7% of GDP, and the real estate sector, making up 43%, are not just victims of weak economic growth, but also contributors to it. Their decline is dragging down overall growth and pushing China into a cycle of economic stagnation.
Wow.
For example, a lack of economic growth leads to a loss of wealth. In most societies, wealth is primarily accumulated through real estate and financial services. The shrinkage of these two markets have caused many ordinary people to lose their wealth.
And see, just like back in the West, this is what most of the new home construction looks like. So there's going to be a lot of people living in resort-like type of infrastructures, simply because people aren't starting families on their own like that, like they used to, because wages are stagnant. You know, nothing is keeping up with this modern generation. So unfortunately, people are just going to have to live as minimalists and pretty much a selfish lifestyle and cut off their own blood lineage.
For average citizens, improving their financial situation or quality of life is becoming increasingly difficult. This is why more and more people feel they can no longer sustain themselves. Millions of young people left without sources of income are becoming aware of the government's exploitive practices and have started to push back. The resistance is adding pressure to the Chinese government's authoritarian control. For example, many young people are opting out of the state pension system. This trend has increased the strain on a system already struggling due to a record low birth rate and an aging population, further destabilizing China's weak economy. A social media influencer in Shenzhen, Gao Penchen, is one of those young people. He has chosen not to contribute to any voluntary pension plans. Most of his friends have made the same decision. Nearly 1,500 yuan per month in pension contributions takes up about 1/5 of his salary. Instead, he prefers to spend that money dining out or buying luxury items.
Live every day like it's your last. This was what I was talking about. You just splurge whatever you used to save it on, instead of putting it into some kind of account, a high yield savings account. Fuck it, I'm going shopping. And it's important that you treat yourself instead of cheating yourself, because the way things are now, they're telling you that you're never going to be able to retire. The millennials are never going to be able to retire. You're going to work until the day you die. So whatever you have in your 401k is not going to be enough for you to not work. So you're going to have to continue to keep working. You'll have your 401k. It's just not going to be enough to do what you want to do with it. So fuck it. Let's go shopping.
Gao believes contributing to the pension fund is pointless since the system may be depleted by the time he retires. He said, "In theory, I'm saving for my retirement by contributing to the pension fund. In reality, I'm just using my money to support others. Why should I use my money to help someone else?"
Ooh.
China's situation is particularly dire compared to other Asian societies. Since 2022, the country's population has been shrinking. The United Nations predicts that by 2100, China's population could be half of its current size. Failing to ensure pension payouts not only raises questions about the government's legitimacy, but also risks further alienating an already delusioned young generation. This could fuel more social unrest and weaken economic growth. Over the next decade, more than 20 million workers will retire annually, but the number of people contributing to the pension fund is decreasing. According to the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, the country's pension system, which supports 460 million people, could face its first annual deficit within 4 years. By 2027, the pension fund is expected to peak at 7 trillion yuan, but it could rapidly decline and be exhausted by 2035.
You see this? We just want to live a simple life. Be social, have fun. We need to be around noise, other people, voices, sounds, food. You know, like a sense of belonging. Not in front of a damn screen all day, interacting with people you think you cool with, when in reality they probably don't want nothing to do with you to begin with. So I'm not hearing AI being a solution for any of this. At least not when it comes to China. But I will say this. Being that AI is going to take over most of the jobs that people refuse to do anyway, how about just put everybody on a fixed income and make everything affordable and pay everybody the same amount of money through the government? I mean, hey, it's a solution, right? And whatever money you have left over, it's up to you what you do with it. But pretty much nobody's above anybody. Everybody gets paid the same amount every 2 weeks or maybe even a month. And just kick back and watch AI do all the work that we no longer have to do anymore. Hope you enjoyed this video. This is Kai DeVeo. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. This is very interesting. And of course, I'm going to have another hot one for you in a little bit. But peace for now.